Well, it's January 10th, 2023. That means on this day, 9 years ago, Digibyte came to life. Out of nothing, Digibyte. Really not out of nothing. I shouldn't say that. I think Digibyte's actually I don't know if it's a copy or a fork of the Litecoin code. Probably a copy of the code. And then some tweaking went along. Not 100% sure on that history. I just know that it all sources from the original Bitcoin blockchain. And that's where you gotta first of all, congratulations to Digibyte. Congratulations. Thank you, Jared Tate, for creating something that is very decentralized, very fast, great form of payment, and a lot of technology can be built on it, has been built on it. It's a good thing. Finite supply, all that stuff is good. I like Digibyte. I like it a lot. So, what I was thinking is, I see a lot of what you would call Bitcoin maxis or one coin maxis. That's their only coin. Nothing else should exist. And it's a very, I'm not sure what the mentality is. But what I see is that, let's take, for instance, a Bitcoin maximalist. That's the only coin that should exist. Bitcoin can do it all. And that's kind of their premise. You don't need anything else but Bitcoin. It can do everything. Well, Bitcoin's slow, though. You can barely do any transactions. It takes 10 minutes for the blocks. No worries. That's why you have Lightning Network. And see, that's the thing that they always point to. Is we have Lightning Network, and that's fast. The problem with Lightning Network that I have, first of all, it seems like they're always working on it, and it's never going to be complete. But it's a second layer solution. It's not done directly on the blockchain. So there is an element of risk. You have to trust the people who are doing the validations. And then you got watchtowers, you got all this other stuff. I can see in the future, it can absolutely become a solution for payments. But again, don't think that you are operating peer-to-peer on the blockchain when you're using Lightning transactions. So I don't know that I'd want to be doing it for a large-scale transaction. You'd want to do that on-chain and wait the 10 minutes, for each block to come out. And so to me, that's a perfect need if you want to have, seriously, if you're spending money on something, you don't want to spend Bitcoin, you don't want to use Bitcoin, you want to get it done quickly, and you want to pay like $30. And you can use Litecoin. The problem, what's going to happen with Litecoin, though, the same thing. It'll take a long time. The same thing will happen to Litecoin as what has happened to Bitcoin. It will get congested at some point. The fees will have to go up at some point because you're not going to be able to get into the block of transactions. This may take a long time. It may never happen. But if you want to make it, if we do have real adoption and we do have businesses accepting Litecoin, cryptocurrency, directly, using the QR code, scanning it peer-to-peer. If we have that, then you're going to want to use something like Digibyte. Litecoin, it's fine. It's just that still, you've got 2.5-minute block confirmations. So there is an element of risk. Somebody could double spend and, pay you and then immediately go pay somebody else before that gets transacted. And, so there is an element of risk there. With 15-second blocks like Digibyte has, there's really no element of risk. It's done, it's confirmed. So it's great for daily transactions. If you're buying something bigger that you're going to wait for, buying a car, sitting in a car dealer, okay, Bitcoin, or Litecoin, either one, or a bigger purchase. It's just that when you're using Lightning Network, you're not sending it peer-to-peer. I'm not sending it to you, and then that network is not confirming it right away. When I sell something, like if I sign over a car title, I want to know that I've got it. I don't want to get hosed. I don't want this to be like some kind of credit card transaction to where, it got lost, something happened, it didn't go through, an invoice didn't make it, or whatever. Because a second layer Lightning Network, somebody's got to put coins in, and they've got to, it's not a native transaction that's on chain and confirmed right away. So that's not really a good solution. And then the other thing is, there's all I need is Bitcoin. All I need is Bitcoin. First of all, the speed is a problem. I have a real problem with that. I've sent Bitcoin transactions and it is slow. I mean, you're waiting and waiting and hope it got there. And if you're using a wallet that didn't put the right transaction fee in there, mining fee, man, you're waiting a day, sometimes a day. And I've waited half a day, more than that. And it's just, you gotta be kidding me. Absolutely ridiculous. So anyway, that's what we're doing here. We got people out on the road working. So, I don't know. Would you want just one thing to exist of anything? Would you want just one beer? Would you want just one car? Would you want, one flavor of ice cream? I mean, on and on and on. Do you just want one type of thing? Do you just want one form of money? Personally, I don't. I would rather have multiple forms of money and then I can pick and choose. Because if one, for whatever reason, has an issue or happens to fail, at least you've got others. It's silly to me to think that this is the only coin that should matter. Who cares? Who cares what people use as long as it works? And to say that, other chains don't matter, they're just copies. That's what I love. It's just a copy of Bitcoin. Okay, so what? People choose to use that copy. And it works. It's not like it doesn't work. I get their argument when it comes to coins that are created out of nothing using a smart contract, and boom, you got 1 billion coins. And then they try and sell it in an ICO. I get that. I get that how that, is bad for the space. It's bad for crypto. But you know what? That's human nature. It doesn't matter. That's the way things are going to be. People are always going to do things they shouldn't do because they want to gamble. They want to take risks. And there's no preventing that. There's no shutting that down. Hey, we're making gambling illegal in this state. People still gamble. Hey, we're going to have this thing called prohibition where you can't drink alcohol. Well, it didn't really prohibit that. Where you can't buy and sell it. Transport it. They still did it. Where do you think Al Capone got all his power? So, I mean, to think that you're just going to have one method of doing something is just really not very smart. It's not looking at how things really work. It's trying to control the infrastructure, trying to control the system. And that's what we've got now. We've got a government that issues the money and says that this is the only thing that is legal tender. This is all you should be able to use. That's all they want you to use. The government doesn't issue it. It's the Federal Reserve that issues it. But you're in that situation where you're being told what to use, and this is the standard. And if you don't use it, if you're going to accept euros for oil, we're going to invade you. Simple as that. I mean, do you want to be in that situation where there's a monopoly on the money? And a lot of people, Bitcoin maximalists, do. And given the option, hey, fiat dollar, Federal Reserve note, you got to use that or you got to use Dogecoin. I think they'd rather use the Federal Reserve note. It's just like it's Bitcoin or bust. And I mean, that is a silly mentality. It's not coin against coin. It's us against them. It's us against that rigged system. And who cares what opportunity there is to get out of it? If it's Dogecoin with an unlimited supply and that's the only alternative at this point, then, well, it's better than using the dollar. It baffles me. It just makes me, I don't know. I lose a lot of respect for people when they have that mentality. I really do. I don't even want to give them my energy. I've heard them out. I've let them come into conversations and spaces on Twitter and listen. But, it's the same old song and dance. It really is. I mean, the arguments, they just don't hold water. Anything you say about, well, what if a state attack against Litecoin or, what then? It's like, well, so what? The same state attack can be against Bitcoin because the state can use as many resources as it wants. It doesn't matter what coin it is. It can attack anything at once. And so it's just, every argument's just silly. I mean, it really is. And it just comes down to, I'm right and you're wrong. And that's just the attitude. You're either with us or you're against us. And whatever, you know, you can be lonely and miserable and hate on everybody, but it comes down to the fact that we all need money that works. And if there are other alternatives, then I'm more than happy to use them. And in fact, I would prefer to use something like Digibyte over Bitcoin any day. It's just faster. As you get into a lot of transactions, you may not be able to have the volume with Digibyte, but that's going to come. I mean, you know, use Litecoin. The way I see it is Litecoin is going to, you know, reach its fair pairing, its fair value against Bitcoin. And Digibyte will come a little bit later. I mean, it's a couple of years behind, 2.5 years behind Litecoin. And so it's like, it's just a matter of time. The math is built into it, and it's built into the code, and that scarcity factor will hit as there is more adoption. And it's just going to soak up dollars. That's all it's going to do. I mean, it's just going to mop up all the money that's been printed. And you just start using it. And the more you use it, the more it's going to mop up. And that's just how it's going to work. So anyway, I'd hate to get off on this tangent like this. There's great breaking news around the world where we've got Joe Biden, then Vice President Biden, took classified documents and they were in his office, one of his offices, and that's been discovered. Now, we just had a big thing a few months back about Donald Trump having potentially classified information. The problem is, you know, he was president, so he can really declassify whatever he wants at a whim. Joe Biden was vice president, so for him to have classified documents, probably shouldn't have. Now, people say, it's not that big of a deal. Well, it was a big deal when they raided Trump's home, a former president who can declassify anything he wants. So, anyway, we'll see what happens with that. The interesting thing I find is that the news is actually reporting it. You know, the mainstream news. So, I don't know. And then you saw yesterday, the House of Representatives, they voted to defund the 87,000 IRS agents, which were supposed to come online. I don't know. Hopefully they are making changes. Hopefully things are, you know, making a difference. That Dan Crenshaw, the guy with the eye patch, he's not on a committee anymore because, I mean, he basically called other people in the House traitors just because he didn't get his way. I don't know. You're starting to see some people reveal themselves and who they really are, and you just got to judge them by their actions, not what they've been saying. Look at what they're doing. And that's the important thing. If they're doing things the right way, that's awesome. I think yesterday they passed the rules for the 118th Congress, too. They passed the rule package that was agreed to make Kevin McCarthy Speaker of the House, all the concessions he gave up. But they think they voted that in yesterday. So, I mean, you got to look at it from the standpoint of, you know, they are doing things like they should be doing. So let's just watch and continue. Hopefully it continues. That Brunson case that it got rejected, I guess, by the Supreme Court yesterday. The one where it could have thrown everybody out on their head who voted to certify the 2020 election. It looks like that got shot down. So not sure what the path forward is as far as correcting the ills of this this government, but hopefully we've got some good people in the House of Representatives, and that'll catch fire and more good people, and pretty soon we can turn this thing over on its head and get on the right path. But we'll see. We'll just have to watch. Until then, might be better off putting your energy into something outside that system. Maybe not saving it in fiat dollars, Federal Reserve notes. Maybe putting your money into sound cryptocurrencies and putting it into silver. Things that you can actually use and barter with and buy goods with when you need to. Might be an important thing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't have anything really else to say other than I did not watch the national championship for college football last night. Looks like it was a complete blowout. I don't know. I just can't get into it. It's hard for me to watch stuff like that. And I know college is a little more passionate than, you know, watching professional football because the NFL, I mean, that's a theater. WWE light. College football's got a little more passion, but it's still, there's a lot of marketing, a lot of money. There's a lot going on there, and now athletes can get money for advertising. So it's becoming more and more commercialized. That's the way it is. I just can't get into the bread and circuses. I just can't do it. I just don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to go there, and I mean, I get why people do it and they want to do it. I mean, it's no knock against them. It's just, it's not for me. I can't imagine. I don't want to sit in a bunch of, stands with a bunch of people, feeling like it's, the collapse of Rome, competing in the gladiator games. And it just, because it really doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. It might to those people playing, but, then you get drafted in the NFL and you have a heart attack live on Monday Night Football, or you get busted up and have all these injuries and multiple concussions. And it's like, it's a rough deal. I mean, it's a rough game. And you look at some of these people who retire, the lifespan of what they can play, it's rough. And then they retire and they're not right. So, but anyway, to each his own. But if you don't support those things, don't feed it. Don't watch it. Don't pay for the jerseys. Don't put your money into it. Don't put your energy into it, and make your choice where you want to put it. Put it somewhere else if you don't like that stuff. And that's what I do. I just choose not to participate. So it's like anything in life. If there's something you don't agree with, instead of complaining about it, don't feed it. That's just as simple as that. If you don't like what's going on, don't support it. Don't use your energy on it. Put your energy somewhere else. Store that energy up somewhere that's, kind of the antithesis of that thing that you don't agree with. All right, rambled enough. Hope you have a wonderful day. Happy birthday to Digibyte. I mean, it's a tremendous accomplishment for a blockchain to be running 9 years uninterrupted. It really is. It's pretty amazing, really, that this concept of money, this concept of immutability, of decentralization, that it's taken hold like it has. And I don't know that sometimes I step back and I think, wow, that's quite an innovation. It's an important thing. It allows you to have sovereignty over, your energy, over transactions. So, and that blockchain doesn't care. It just works. Litecoin just works. Digibyte just works. So, all right. Love you all. Hope you have a wonderful day. And always trust yourselves. You know better than anybody else does. Don't listen to the mainstream media. Don't listen to the vampires. Don't feed them. Stay out of that vampire casino. Trust your instincts. All right. Love you all. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.